Hi guys, we are back for May 1964. And you know what? I was uploading the one yesterday and watching it, and it sounded like I said General McCarthy died, but I meant MacArthur. I mean, I know it's MacArthur, but I don't know. It sounded weird. So I just wanted to make sure, especially for you, Kyle and Zach, so you don't think that I don't know who General MacArthur is. But I am sniffing because I have fall allergies today and I'm really struggling. So, but it's beautiful out, but it's making my nose run. But I'm going to try to get through this without too much coughing and sniffling. So, anyway, May 1964, we start with the Beatles. The Beatles' second album, okay? Replaces the Beatles' first album for number one. And it stays there at night for 5 weeks. So Beatles, Beatles, Beatles. That's all I can say about this time period. And let's see. So that happened on the 2nd. May 4th, the soap opera Another World premieres on NBC. I never watched Another World because I was either in school or it was opposite General Hospital. But if it was opposite General Hospital, I would have been watching General Hospital. So, on the 8th, Melissa Gilbert is born. I'm not sure you even know who she is, but she was on Little House of the Prairie, and then she did the movie The Miracle Worker, and she played Helen Keller, and her sister was in the show Roseanne. She played the second girl. I'm trying to think of what her name is, but I can't think of it. So anyway, but she was born, and I really didn't know she was my age, so that's kind of cool. On the 13th, Stephen Colbert is born. And of course, you know him from the Colbert Report. And for some reason, I think I'm saying his name wrong, but I don't really know him. Never really watched it. But anyway, so he's pretty famous. Maybe you guys do. But on the 16th, John Salley was born. And I know the boys know who John Salley is because he played for, and get this, when I looked him up, because I wanted to see, I mean, we all know he played for the Pistons, but before he retired in 2000, he played for the Heat, the Bulls. He went to Greece and played. Then he came back and played for the Lakers for a season or two. But he started with the Pistons in 1986, and then he retired in 2000. So, the only reason I know who he is from Netflix has a whole. I think they have the show at 30 for 30 on the Detroit Pistons, and he's on there. So, anyway, so I know who he is, but otherwise, I'm not sure that I would know who he is. But anyway, moving on. On the 17th, I thought this was pretty cool. The first Tim Hortons opened in Ontario. Now, if you've never been to a Tim Hortons to get their donuts and their coffee, you can find them all over pretty much now. But I'm trying to think if there's definitely not any around here. But I've seen them in Pittsburgh. I've seen them in New York. But if you get the chance and you're traveling and you see them, or maybe they'll be coming to you, but it definitely rivals Starbucks and it's cheaper. But their donuts are amazing. Anyway, so on the 23rd, I found this interesting. My grandfather turned 52. So it kind of puts it in perspective of what he was going through when my mom finds out she's pregnant. Because as I said in April, by now, definitely in May, everybody is knowing that she is pregnant. And he's the guy he's her dad, and he's the one that was the telephone worker, the Framace Telephone Company. And since I'm 52, I was like, okay, so I was not the oldest grandchild on that side. As a matter of fact, since grandma was the youngest of their children, it was Uncle Dick, Uncle Ron, my Aunt Carol, and then my mom. And Uncle Dick, Uncle Ron, and my Aunt Carol were all born within a very short period of time, like a year or two apart. And then there was 8 years until grandma was born. So they were all kind of raised together, and then there was grandma. Well, the cousins that were born before me, we have my cousins Doug and Dave, and they were Uncle Ron's kids. And then my cousin Ardith and Joel were my Aunt Carol's kids. And then my cousin Susan, who is my age, she's 9 months older than me. That's my Uncle Dick's oldest daughter. Now, Susan would have been born in March. So my mom is also already knows she's pregnant in March. Probably hasn't told anybody, but then Susan is born. So it's kind of interesting when I was thinking about the family dynamic on that side. Now, on the other side, my dad was the third out of fourth. So the cousins that were born before me were Jeff, Mike, and Lisa, my Aunt Darlene's kids. Then Uncle Dan is next in the pecking order, and he doesn't have kids till later. And then my dad, and then my Uncle Joe, who has Heather, but that's, later also. So there are cousins on both sides. So I was not the oldest cousin, but definitely the other cousins were born during the time of marriage. So I was definitely the only one that had to get married, that my parents had to get married. So my grandfather's my age. I already have 7 grandchildren. He doesn't, neither side has that many by that age, but it kind of puts it in perspective, and I'm really happy that I'm doing this. So I'm learning so much, and I'm also being able to put myself in all of their shoes, which is also really cool too. And I'm getting to share it with you guys. On May 25th, they had the Emmy Awards. We just had the Emmy Awards, but I thought I'd tell you guys who won. Best Actor was Dick Van Dyke for the Dick Van Dyke Show. If you've never seen that show, go watch it, because you'll see the actress, Mary Tyler Moore, for the Dick Van Dyke Show. Best Comedy Show, the Dick Van Dyke Show. So it's in black and white, but it was such a good show. I've actually, because of the miracle of Amazon, I was able to go on and watch some, and that was a really funny show. I had never saw it before because I'm not even sure like what reruns I would have been able to see of it, but he is hysterical. He's really good, and he ends up playing in Mary Poppins, and Mary Tyler Moore goes on to do the Mary Tyler Moore Show, but this is like before that, and they are hysterical. So anyway, that was on the 25th. The 26th, Lenny Kravitz is born. Now I know Lenny is also my age, which is interesting because he looks old. He looks younger too. And then on the 30th, Wynonna Judd is born, and I love her. She was her and her mom were the Judds, and back in the 90s and 2000s, they were really big, and she used to be on Oprah a lot, and she's really sweet. But the last thing is on the 31st, the Beatles song Love Me Do becomes the #1 song. And like I said before in the other videos, I find this so interesting that my mom hated the Beatles so much. I mean, this is her age. She is 16. They are the biggest. They're coming out #1 songs, #1 albums. I mean, all I can envision is that this is such a bad time for her that the Beatles just reminded her of what a bad time it was. Because now that I'm doing this, I realize, I mean, before I kind of realized that the Beatles were big while she was young, but now it really puts it in perspective. I mean, they weren't just big, they were like the group. So for her to not like them, it's really huge. It really tells you right there, like, that she is struggling right now. And she was a little thing, so it's not like May, I'll show you. I'll see if I can dig up for tomorrow their wedding picture for when I do June, because wait till you see what she looked like. I can't wait to show you. But anyway, May is over, and I can't wait to talk about June tomorrow. Bye.